The haunted house that no one dares enter after dark. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the heart of the countryside, there stood an old decrepit house that had long been abandoned. The locals whispered of a curse that had befallen the house, saying that it was haunted by the restless spirits of those who had died there under mysterious circumstances. No one dared to enter the house after dark, for it was said that strange noises could be heard coming from within, and eerie apparitions could be seen floating in the air. Despite this, there were always a few brave souls who would try to explore the house during the daylight hours, hoping to uncover the secrets of the haunted abode. One day, a group of teenagers decided to test their courage and venture into the house after dark. Armed with flashlights and bravado, they crept through the dusty rooms, searching for any sign of the supernatural. As they made their way deeper into the house, they began to hear faint whispers echoing through the corridors. Suddenly, one of the teenagers screamed, claiming that they had seen a ghostly figure lurking in the shadows. Panic set in, and the group scrambled to make their way back to the safety of the outside ward. But as they ran, they heard the sound of creaking floorboards and slamming doors behind them, as if the house itself was alive and trying to trap them inside. When they finally burst through the front door and into the moonlit night, they were panting and sweating, their nerves frayed and their hearts racing. They looked back at the old haunted house, shuddering at the thought of what horrors still lurked within its walls. From that day on, no one ever dared to enter the house after dark again, and it remained a dark and foreboding presence in the town for many years to come. Despite the warnings and rumors about the haunted house, some curious souls still couldn't resist the lure of the unknown. Many thrill-seekers attempted to explore the house, but none ever returned unscathed. Some claimed to have seen strange, shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the rooms, while others reported being pushed or grabbed by invisible hands. Some even claimed to have heard ghostly voices whispering in their ears, urging them to stay or warning them to leave. The local authorities tried to seal the house off, but it seemed that no matter how many times they boarded up the windows and doors, they would always find them open again the next day. Eventually, the town decided that enough was enough. They hired a team of paranormal investigators to look into the history of the house and see if they could uncover the source of the haunting. What they discovered was shocking. The house had been the site of numerous tragic events, including murders, suicides, and even demonic possession. The restless spirits of the victims had been trapped within the house, unable to move on to the afterlife. The investigators attempted to cleanse the house of its negative energy, but even they were unable to fully rid the property of its haunted past. The town ultimately decided to demolish the house, hoping that destroying the physical structure would finally release the trapped spirits and put an end to the haunting. To this day, the site where the haunted house once stood remains an empty lot, a reminder of the terror and tragedy that once lurked within its walls. And although many years have passed since the house was demolished, some still claim to see ghostly apparitions and hear strange noises coming from the spot where it once stood. Despite the demolition of the haunted house, the stories and legends surrounding it continued to be passed down from generation to generation in the small town. The empty lot where the house once stood became a popular spot for ghost hunters and thrill seekers, eager to experience the paranormal activity for themselves. However, many who ventured onto the lot at night claimed to feel a sense of unease and dread, as if they were being watched by an unseen presence. Some even reported seeing ghostly apparitions and hearing strange noises, just as others had before the house was demolished. Over time, the town began to embrace the haunted history of the lot and turned it into a tourist attraction, offering haunted tours and hosting Halloween events there. The site became a popular destination for those seeking a spine-tingling experience, and the stories of the haunted house continued to live on. As the years passed, the town itself began to change. New buildings and businesses sprouted up, and the old legends of the haunted house became less and less relevant to the newer generations. However, there were still a few who remembered the old stories, and who would never forget the eerie feeling they got when they walked past the empty lot where the haunted house once stood. And even though the house itself was gone, the memories of the tragedies that had occurred within its walls lingered on, a reminder of the darker aspects of the town's history. The haunted house that no one dared enter after dark may have been destroyed, but its legacy continued to haunt the town for many years to come. As time went on, the stories of the haunted house that no one dared enter after dark began to fade from the public consciousness. The town continued to grow and change, and new generations of residents came and went, unaware of the dark history that once haunted the area. However, there were still those who remembered the old legends and the eerie feeling that permeated the empty lot where the haunted house once stood. Some claimed to see ghostly figures walking the streets at night, while others reported strange noises and unexplained occurrences in their homes. Rumors began to spread that the spirits of the old haunted house had not been released with its demolition, and that they continued to haunt the town to this day. Some claimed that the town was cursed, and that the only way to break the curse was to appease the restless spirits of the house. In response to these rumors, the town council decided to commission a new investigation into the history of the haunted house. This time, they enlisted the help of a renowned psychic medium, hoping that she would be able to communicate with the spirits and put an end to their haunting once and for all. After a thorough investigation, the medium reported that the spirits of the house were indeed still present in the town, and that they were angry and restless. She advised the town to hold a special ceremony to honor the memory of the victims of the house and to ask for their forgiveness. The town took her advice, and a large gathering was held in the empty lot where the haunted house once stood. The ceremony was somber and respectful, with the town's residents coming together to pay their respects to the spirits of the house and to ask for their forgiveness. As the ceremony came to a close, a strange and unexpected thing happened. A gentle breeze began to blow through the lot, and the air was filled with a sense of calm and peace. The residents of the town looked around in amazement, feeling as if a weight had been lifted from their shoulders. From that day on, the rumors of the curse and the haunting began to fade away. The town continued to grow and change, but the memory of the haunted house that no one dared enter after dark lived on, a reminder of the town's past and the power of the spirits that still lingered there. Years passed, and the town that was once known for its haunted house became known for other things. New residents moved in and new businesses opened, and the old legends of the haunted house were all but forgotten. However, there were still those who remembered the stories and the eerie feeling that once permeated the empty lot. Some even claimed to still see ghostly figures walking the streets at night, or to hear strange noises and whispers in the darkness. Despite the passing of time, the old legends continued to live on, passed down from generation to generation as a cautionary tale of the dangers of delving too deeply into the unknown. And while the town had moved on from its haunted past, there were still those who believed that the spirits of the old house remained, watching over the town and protecting it from harm. As the years turned into decades, and the decades turned into centuries, the memory of the haunted house that no one dared enter after dark faded further and further into the past. But in the quiet corners of the town, in the dark of night, the spirits of the house still whispered their warning, reminding those who dared to listen of the dangers that lurked in the unknown. And so the legend of the haunted house lived on, a reminder of the darker aspects of the town's history, and the power of the unknown to both terrify and entice. For those who dared to venture into the darkness, the old stories still held a fascination, drawing them inexorably towards the empty lot where the haunted house once stood. Despite the passing of time, there were still those who remained fascinated by the haunted house and its dark history. Ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts came from all over to investigate the site and attempt to make contact with the spirits that were said to still linger there. Many claim to have had eerie encounters with the spirits of the old house, hearing strange noises and voices, feeling sudden chills in the air, and even seeing ghostly apparitions. Some claim to have been chased out of the area by an unseen force, while others reported feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness and loss. As the years went on, the town council decided to embrace the haunted history of the area and began to promote it as a tourist attraction. They opened up the site to visitors, allowing them to tour the empty lot and learn about the dark history of the haunted house that once stood there. The town also began to hold annual festivals and events centered around the haunted house, drawing in crowds from all over the region. People came to hear the old stories, see the site for themselves, and experience the eerie atmosphere that still lingered in the air. And while some still claimed to see and hear ghostly activity in the area, for most, the haunted house had become a harmless curiosity, a reminder of the darker aspects of the town's history and the enduring power of legend and folklore. As the years turned into decades, the memory of the haunted house that no one dared enter after dark became more and more distant, until it was little more than a footnote in the town's history. But for those who remembered the old stories, the haunted house would always hold a special place in their hearts, a reminder of the mysterious and otherworldly forces that still lurked in the shadows of the world. Decades later, the town underwent a new wave of development, and the area where the haunted house once stood was finally redeveloped into a thriving community center. The empty lot was replaced with a bustling park, complete with walking paths, playgrounds, and picnic areas. As the bulldozers cleared the lot, many wondered if the spirits of the old house would finally be at peace, or if they would linger on, haunting the new development. However, as construction progressed, it became clear that the spirits had finally moved on. No longer were there strange noises or eerie whispers in the air. The atmosphere had lifted, and a sense of joy and lightness permeated the area. The town celebrated the opening of the new park, and families flocked to the area to enjoy the beautiful new facilities. And while the memory of the haunted house remained, it no longer held the power to terrify or intrigue. It had become a mere footnote in the town's history, a relic of a time long past. But for those who remember the old legends, there was a sense of bittersweet nostalgia. The haunted house may have been gone, but its memory would always live on, a reminder of the power of folklore and the enduring fascination with the unknown. As the years passed, new generations grew up in the town, and the memory of the haunted house faded further and further into the past. It became little more than a story parents would tell their children on dark and stormy nights, a tale to make them shiver and wonder. But even as the memory of the haunted house became more distant, there were still those who believed in the power of the unknown and the spirits that might still linger in the world. And so the town continued to attract ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts from all over, drawn to the mystery and intrigue that still surrounded the old legends. As the town continued to grow and change, the memory of the haunted house became less of a focus, replaced by new landmarks and attractions. But for those who remember the old stories, there would always be a sense of fascination and wonder, a longing for the days when the unknown still held the power to terrify and entice. And so the memory of the haunted house that no one dared enter after dark lived on, a reminder of the darker aspects of the town's history and the enduring fascination with the unknown and the supernatural. It remained a part of the town's folklore, a source of mystery and intrigue for generations to come.